gamers? Welcome to another episode of All That Remains, our weekly live podcast format. My name is Sully, and today I'm joined by Mark. And Mark, this is your first time on our live format. It's good to have you back. It's great to have you back, in fact. And as I think everybody knows, we've been joking about your health kind of a little bit here and there on our podcasts. But Mark, you're all shipshape now.
Yes.
Hopefully, more or less.
Yes, I'm shipshape. Shipshape is probably a good way to say it. My nose is better. My brain surgery is done.
Long recovery, lots of ice cream.
Blood has ceased. And I can sleep soundly at night. It's nice and easy now. And I've been playing a lot of games while I had a lot of time off.
And this episode, actually, for the first time in a long time, it's a big episode. It's a big game-focused episode. So today, we're a little bit late, so we do apologize for missing last week. We had some gremlins in our workings, which unfortunately meant we couldn't get the freaking podcast live and up last Thursday. So some of it has kind of passed by a little bit, but we're still going to talk about Overwatch. We're going to be talking about Diablo. We're going to be getting Mark's in-depth thoughts, and I guess probably still early impressions of Death Stranding, Mark.
If you call 20 hours early, yeah.
Yeah, kind of first half-ish impressions of Death Stranding. And then we're going to finish up with a little bit of fun in the Nintendo Direct that was earlier in the month. But we're going to be kind of discussing the wild rumors and leaks that were circulating that, I don't know, who knows, they could still come to fruition in another Nintendo Direct. We're going to tack that on to the end of this live podcast. So stick around for that because there's some wacky shit in that. But first, I'm going to open with what I've been playing before I let Mark go hammer and tong about Death Stranding. And that is Link's Awakening on the Switch, Mark. Have you had any dabblings with this?
Yes. So the original Link's Awakening, I saw my brothers play through it. But I never got it. Like, I wasn't that interested in it at that point, or I wasn't, that sort of like technical with games, like puzzles and things like that, which just not my thing. But I did pick up the Switch remake and played through it recently, and I really did like it. But it was funny. It was funny being stuck every now and again, and then my brother just walks by and goes like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." So good luck.
Yeah, it's a nice challenge level, I think. It's not too hard. And it's all, you shouldn't really need to look up a guide, but I tell you what, the game makes you feel real dumb when you do need to look up a guide. Because it really is one of those games where it pulls you back a little bit and it makes you kind of like, just stop, take a deep breath, go back and have another look type games. Because, like games these days, they're so fast paced. They like to, you rush through everything. It's breakneck speed, but this game, it's puzzle dungeons. So if you're rushing through it, you're going to miss stuff. So you need to just take your time and try and enjoy it. But I'm really enjoying it. And I'm only a few dungeons in, but there's not much that I'm not liking about the game, which we'll discuss at the very end of kind of what I've been playing segment. But damn, it's cute. It's so cute, Mark. I love it. It's like a little miniature figurines come to life. Like, it's like you're looking at little handcrafted sets on screen. It's so cute. And the aesthetic they've gone for this game is like nothing else. And we were actually talking about this last night on Joe Chip's Chip Chat episode, which he should be publishing in the next few days. But we're talking about how Nintendo has that little spark in their games, that little formula, the Nintendo formula, it's that magic key to their games. And Link's Awakening to me is not only that little spark in a bottle, but it's the reason why you should buy a Nintendo Switch for these Link Awakening experiences. And, yes, it's a remake, but it doesn't matter. That spark was present 20 years ago when the game first came out, and now they've kind of polished it up for the Nintendo Switch. It's an amazing experience, and I cannot rate it highly enough. So that's what I've been playing, and it's been really, really, really enjoyable. And I'm still surprised by the Switch and how much I'm enjoying it. Sorry for chewing your ear off about Link's Awakening, no. Mark, but yeah, I just wanted to put it out there. Really enjoyed it. So, and hopefully I'll get it finished this week and I can kind of give my final thoughts on it in a future podcast. But Mark,
yeah,
it's time. This is what the audience really want. They want another opinion on Death Stranding. And Death Stranding has really polarized the internet. It's one of those titles, and I think we knew it probably would be going into it. And I've heard nothing from you, Mark, so I'm actually very, very interested to see where you lie or where you stand on Death Stranding.
Yeah. So, Death Stranding is an experience. It's like my entire time with it so far, which is about 20 hours, and I think I'm only in the first quarter or first third of the game. I walked into it expecting something different, which was, I think, what a lot of people sort of expected out of Kojima. And I was like, okay, I might not like this game right away. I might not understand this game right away. I don't understand anything from the freaking trailers. Don't understand anything that I've seen. Majority of all of the trailers they show was like the first hour of the game, which is really interesting. So I was freaking confused because they don't take a lot of time to explain things. You need to dig that up yourself. So I was immediately sort of like weirdly engaged in this story, because they didn't really let you play the game until everyone does their sort of introductions. And everything we'd seen seemed like this open world, adventure-ish sort of game. And while it is open world, and people say it's a walking simulator, it's more like you're an Uber Eats guy and you're trying to deliver as much as possible in the shortest time frame to as many people as possible. And that's probably the best way I could explain what this game is at its core.
So, you're a delivery man.
Yes.
You're an on-foot delivery man, like some kind of like post-apocalyptic UPS service.
Yes, it's post-apocalyptic delivery service. I even had to deliver a pizza in 30 minutes or less across battle-torn.
That's an incredible angle to do the apocalypse from. I'll give them that.
Yeah. So the thing is that the first 3 hours of the game, I really was not feeling it. It felt like such a struggle to do anything because Kojima sort of wanted to make the experience as genuine as possible. Like, every single item you carry with you is physically on you. If you've got a gun, it's carried on your tool rack on your side. If you've got a ladder, same sort of deal, or you compress it into a briefcase and you wear the briefcase in your backpack. Your backpack can stack up into like this weird Jenga tower, and you need to balance it because if it goes too far to one side, then you'll feel that in gameplay and you sort of need to readjust yourself to the left or the right depending on how it goes. Uneven terrain, you need to adjust. You need to hold different triggers depending on what side it's sort of leaning to. If you've got a spare set of boots, they hang from a clip on your back and that weighs you down and things like that. It's just all this weird tiny little realism of you're physically carrying the objects in any other game.
So it's real encumberment.
Yeah.
Real over-encumberment systems and inventory systems. Like, it's real physical, has real impact, not just this imaginary, somehow it fits into your imaginary, infinitely deep backpack.
Yeah.
And real walking mechanics to balance it all. So, I mean, that's cool. That's cool. Do you think it's cool?
I thought it was cool, but annoying when I was doing it. Because it's so much more fun to watch it than to play it. Especially if you stack it, but you get graded on how well your items were transported, the condition they were transported in, and whatnot. And you feel every sort of kilogram that is put on your character. Like you feel that weight, which is kind of amazing. But this game wouldn't be much of a game without some sort of obstacle or some sort of progression or something to keep you entertained beyond just delivering. And what they did is there are enemy delivery guys who are so obsessed with delivering things that they will steal your deliveries. And you basically have this army of like sort of like postal workers just beating the crap out of each other and stealing briefcases. Which is kind of funny, but also sort of terrifying. And then you've got to deal with weather conditions, because when it rains in this game, it doesn't just rain water. It rains this thing called timefall, which ages anything it touches. So it'll age all of your cargo that it touches. So you need to get out of the timefall quickly. But that's really hard because weather conditions are crazy. And
then... Okay,
Yeah.
So with the time rain mark,
Yes. I call it
Could
time
you-
rain.
okay, that's the popular thing to call it, right? Because I've seen some memes on time rain. So, is that the extent of the time rain mechanic?
There is more to it, and I discovered it
Okay.
last night.
Okay. Is it spoilers or
Not really.
okay? Can you share that? Because
Yeah.
I find that interesting. I think that's a cool game mechanic.
Yeah, so basically the time rain will be different depending on where you are in the game world. So, for example, if you're just in the wetlands sort of thing, like it's rain, whatever, it's like you can get out of there. If it's wet, then the cloud will probably be bigger. If it's in a dry, arid thing, the cloud won't be that big. But if you're in the snow in a mountain, it's freaking time snow.
That's cool.
And it rapidly
That's sick.
degrades everything. And I lost a lot of stuff last night as I fell off a mountain and just
Amazing.
landed flat on my back in the snow, making like a snow angel. And I just sat there for a few seconds. Okay, like, is it even worth getting back up? Because you have to work so hard to move through the snow. Like, you feel it all. And it's like, part of it's incredible, part of it's annoying. And then there are these other like ghost type monsters, which they've been advertising like crazy, which are super threatening as well. They leave these eerie handprints everywhere. It's really cool. But they only show up in the time rain, so it makes it even more stressful because you can only avoid them slowly, but you need to get out of the time rain quickly. So it gives it like a stress thing. But I've been saying about the mechanics, but I haven't really said about my experience so much. Because after 3 hours with it, and I felt like it was a bit of a chore and having all this difficulty, I was like, I don't know, like, what's really worth it? Like, should I stop this game? Because I've heard it's like 60 hours long. And then they started giving you rewards for your experience and things like that, because your experience system is based on, like, one of your stats is based on cargo condition, one of them is based on your social likes, because there's a whole social system in it where you indirectly interact with other players, where you can build something in your world and it'll appear in another player's world, and then they can like it, and then you can get experience, and then that'll level you up, and vice versa. So basically you can build this whole network of roads and things like that. It's really cool. Which is part of the reason why I kept going, because I wanted to help other people out. But the sense of progression in this game is incredible, because as you do each sort of like massive trudge delivery and you're like, that was a pain, they'll give you a new tool that will change how you deliver for the rest of that experience. So I was trudging, carrying like all these, like it was like 100 kilos worth of stuff, and I was falling over all the time. I was having all this trouble. Then I got to the next place. Then they gave me an exoskeleton that raises my carry limit and balances me. And so I was basically running through mountains with all this stuff without a care in the world. And I was like, this still takes a while. Then the next place gives you a hover trolley. So you don't even need to carry your stuff. You just carry it alongside you. Or you can ride it like a hover skateboard. And you're like, oh, cool, it negates all terrain. Or it's like, it teaches you how to build bridges. It teaches you how to use zip lines.
It gives you the tools to make your job easier as a delivery man, essentially.
Yes. and every single step of the way, they introduce a new tool that will change how that next area will go, how that next delivery will go, even if it's back and forth.
So, to me, I mean, I've read little bits and pieces on this game. I've mostly been waiting for your opinion, knowing that your opinion was coming up. But to me, it's like, it's a future post-apocalyptic delivery service simulator, and its progression mechanics revolve around your delivery skill set with a sci-fi story backdrop.
Yeah. And a lot of celebrities.
Yes.
A lot of celebrities.
Yes.
And also being an incredible technical achievement.
Has the story grabbed you, Mark, though, in the first 20 hours that you've played? Are you in it now? Are you going to finish it?
It grabbed me almost straight away, mainly because I wanted to know what the F was going on.
Yeah, intriguing. So it's intriguing.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
cool.
intentionally so. But this won't spoil anything, but I know it was meant to be serious. But my favorite scene in the game so far was when a villainish character was giving a like epic monologue type thing. And he was in the rain, the time rain, and he's wearing this mask, and this really cool gold mask. And he takes off the gold mask in the rain and then turns around to the camera and he's wearing another mask. So, I was just like, I know it's meant to be serious, but
It's like the Russian dolls.
yeah.
That's so good.
I was like, this scene is so
That's so
creepy, but oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's sick. So, to kind of wrap up your thoughts and I guess fairly good impressions of the game so far, where do you sit with the kind of all the review debacles and opinions floating around? Is it all fair? Is it all fair criticism? Like, I feel like it's a polarizing game.
Yes.
It sounds like it's got an incredibly complex and intriguing story, but some people either don't like the mechanics and that sinks it for them, or some people love it and it's like the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
Is it all fair? I think it's all fair. Do you think it's all fair?
See, I think it's all fair, because the best way I can describe it, because it is so polarizing and so strange and really hard to define, and when I looked at all the reviews, my heart sank a bit, sort of thing, because they came out before the game. The best way I can describe it is when I played it, I got the same sense that I got when I first played Dark Souls, where I was like, this game is not for everyone. Like some people are going to absolutely love the crap out of it, and if they make other games like it, they're going to keep loving the crap out of it. But that's only a small section of the total number of people that will play it, because they're going to hear these weird raving reviews or the names associated with it. Like Dark Souls, when it first came out, or Demon Souls, when it first came out, was this massive polarizing game, and everyone was talking about it, and so many people played it, but then gave up immediately. Death Stranding has that exact same sense to me, where everyone's talking about it, people pick it up, and it's just gonna it's not for everyone. And I can't recommend it to people, but I can recommend watching a Let's Play.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's not for everyone because, it's very convoluted in a lot of ways. Bloodborne, Dark Souls, the whole Dark Souls genre, you can point at to a very specific reason why people won't like it. But Death Stranding is a whole accumulation of reasons that equals the final product as to why you may not like it. It does a lot of zany stuff with its mechanics. It's got a really wacky story, and it's an unconventional game. Whereas Dark Souls, I don't think was an unconventional game. It returned to like kind of the grassroots of gaming actually being fucking hard. It wasn't forgiving. Whereas Death Stranding is one of those titles which it's just polarizing on all fronts. And I think Kojima himself, he's like, you get it or you don't get it. And if you don't get it, then you probably won't appreciate it. Or it doesn't click with you, you won't appreciate it. There's probably a better way to interpret it. It's going to be interesting to see how we look back at this game in 5 years. And to see how other games adopt specifically what I find interesting, like the actual traversing landscape mechanics, and inventory management, and them having real impact on how you traverse land. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I can imagine one day seeing a Zelda game where, if they do it like Breath of the Wild 2, which they are, I can imagine some sort of semblance of your items are physically carried by you. Yeah,
totally. Really cool. I look forward to see how it again, and Kojima said this is what he wanted to do with this game. He wants to kind of do something new and to see how it changes things. And I think he's done it. I think he's absolutely hands down achieved what he set out to do. So I look forward to seeing how this game progresses, and hopefully, Mark, we can get your follow-up final opinions when you finish it. So
yeah. when being
when
this game is freaking huge.
I'll hold you to it, Mark. I expect your opinions in the future. So give Mark a couple weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, when we get him on again, and so stay tuned for that. But let's move along, Mark.
Yeah.
Let's touch base now on BlizzCon. Interesting show overall. We're not here to specifically talk about the show, but I think it's the show that Blizzard needed. They needed to drop their heavy hitters on the table with all the bad publicity they've had. And I think they did that. I think they did that with Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4's announcement. Let's maybe... we won't dabble on this too long, because I know you guys have probably been through all of it. Mark and I are here to just basically give you our first impressions and opinions on what we saw. But let's start with Overwatch 2, Mark. Now, this is an interesting package. The way I understand it is the PvP elements of this game are fully compatible with Overwatch 1. So the multiplayer lobbies will be merging in some way, shape, or form. And the only real thing that you're buying with Overwatch 2 is a lot more lore, campaign, and character campaigns, and PvE elements. So, like, what do you think of this? Like, a lot of people are obviously saying, oh, it's Overwatch 1.5. But what do you make of this, Mark? Because I honestly am not sure how I feel about it.
So, like, before BlizzCon came, there was a lot of rumors about Overwatch 2 and a lot of leaks hinting at an expansion and a sequel. And you weren't really sure which one was which. And even when they showed the logo for Overwatch 2, it sort of looked like it could have been an expansion. It wasn't like a big upfront number 2 sort of thing like that. And so when I saw the announcement at BlizzCon, I was like, it's not an expansion or a sequel, it's both, which is really freaking weird.
Really unconventional.
Because, like, it's the hard sell for, like, it's an easy sell for someone who doesn't have Overwatch at all. It's your best option is buy 2, because then you've got all
Absolutely.
of the content. But it's a hard sell if you've been playing Overwatch, because basically Overwatch 1 will get all of the back content from 2 for new cosmetics, new maps, new PvP modes, among other things. Overwatch 2 will have the new game engine, which is cleaner, shinier, and everything like that, plus the PvE story mode elements, which so far seem like horde mode, basic mission like point A to point B missions, as well as a character progression system within those.
Sorry, Mark. I was going to say, is this like their attempt at not fragmenting the multiplayer community?
I think so, because pretty much from day one for Overwatch, I wanted PvE or some sort of story mode, because the lore is so good and the cinematic trailers are so good. And when they had multiplayer events that were PvE, they were fantastic. But I think that part of the reason why we thought they were fantastic was because they were limited time events in a game that was always PvP. Like, if you were to actually test them against another game that's single player focused or team focused, it wouldn't really hold up.
Yeah, sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the thing here, it seems like they could have easily just sort of upgraded the game. Because if Overwatch 1 can get all of the content of 2 minus PvE, then there's no reason why Overwatch 1 can't have PvE. But it feels like a cash grab, because I know that they haven't announced prices, I know they haven't released release dates, but because this is a sequel, not an expansion, you can bet there's going to be a full price tag on that thing, even if you are an owner of an original title.
Second theory, is this a way them of soft booting into the next generation of Overwatch? Like, eventually Overwatch 1 will be phased out. Yes. Like, maybe Overwatch 3 comes out in 5 years, and Overwatch 1 is no longer compatible, but everything in Overwatch 2 goes forward to number 3. Like, they kind of just shut the game code down and engine down for Overwatch 1.
Yeah, that's one of the prevailing theories, because one of them was like one of the plausible ones I read was, when Overwatch 2 comes out, the Overwatch launcher on, say, like PC for Battle.net will be listed as Overwatch 2. And all the things like that. I think, did Destiny do it or something? No, Diablo does that. When Diablo does a new expansion, it changes the launcher into the new expansion one, even if you don't have that expansion. And then when you load the game, it keeps advertising the content that you're locked out of. And so, say when you boot up Overwatch 2 and don't have Overwatch 2, it'll pop up sort of like the main screen Overwatch 2 or whatever, and it'll have blacked out options. And it'll say, buy the full game for this, buy the full game for this.
Yeah, sure.
So that seems very plausible, of that 1 won't sort of share servers with 2, 1 will merge into 2, and then 2 to 3 if 2 does well, which I think that there's very little doubt.
I think it very much is probably the 1.5 scenario. So it's a good cash grab that keeps people hooked, and it doesn't fragment the multiplayer, and it keeps it pushing forward at a full price tag, which is, I don't know, kind of weird and seedy, but at least we're not fragmenting the multiplayer community, I guess. Yeah,
because like, honestly, if they were to do, say, like a straight up sequel, like how fighting games and other games do sequels, you want all of the characters present. but you have to expect some things are cut.
You expect a radical change in like gameplay, the formula. You expect something very new and fresh.
Yeah. And so like fighting games are a fantastic example, because when a new one's announced, you see returning characters. Like say it's a new Street Fighter, you always expect Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li sort of thing like that. But it's up in the air if you'll get, say, Guile from like the American Guile with flat hair and iconic American tattoo. It's up in the air if you'll get him. Like for Street Fighter V, he was DLC, even though he's a staple of the franchise sort of thing. For Overwatch, if they were to do straight up Overwatch 2 with a cast of like 30 odd characters or something like that now, you'd expect cuts, but you don't want cuts because it's balanced as is. And so They've done the sort of clever route in terms of balancing gameplay by just transitioning as a 1.5, but done the annoying thing in terms of consumers for cash, where it's like, this is called 2, so you're going to put out money for 2.
We're going to charge you full retail price, even though you've played the balls off number 1 and you're only going to get some new story content. Yeah. For new buyers, absolutely. For hooking new people into the franchise, absolutely. Like, goodbye, go buy it. It's interesting though, and you could imagine. I would love to be a fly on the wall in like their board meetings for how they were going to handle this. I feel like it'd be very interesting, and I wouldn't mind seeing the other kind of ideas they were tossing around as to how they were going to kind of put this product out there. I mean, I don't know if I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if I'll play it. Really enjoyed Overwatch 1, but I mean, I just don't know where I stand on this. I think I need to see more. I need to see like how big and deep does that story content go before I kind of sink my teeth into it or make a decision.
Yeah, that's the big thing, because like the main selling point of 2 is the single player content. Then, because if you can get it all in one, why not get it all in one? So this content has got to sell an entire game.
Absolutely. But Mark, you mentioned Diablo earlier, so let's move into Diablo. To me, this is the takeaway from BlizzCon for me, and I mean, it's a silly takeaway because we didn't get to see a lot. Well, I mean, I don't know. We did get to see quite a bit. You know, we got a pretty hefty gameplay trailer. We got a pretty good cutscene. We've got a general gist of the lore and where it's going. Even though I'm not really that up to date on Diablo lore, I'm a little bit hazy. I have played through every single Diablo. I love them. My crowning Diablo is definitely number 2. And, you know, this game is a long, long way off. I feel like this was just a little goodwill nugget that they threw at us. You know, they knew they needed to get a lot of good press out, so they just tossed Diablo in. But it looks good. And as far as the gameplay reveal goes, I'm actually really, really stoked and really happy that it looks gritty. The gameplay looks gritty and grim, more akin to Diablo 2. Now, one of my criticisms with Diablo 3 was, as much as it was a fun game, you know, there was a lot of issues with that game at launch, with the auction shop and all that kind of shit, not being able to trade items. One of my big criticisms was that it looked too shiny and polished. Like, it didn't feel like Diablo. It looked too clean. It looked too much like a modern era Blizzard game. How did you feel about it, Mark?
Yeah. So, I'll put it like this. Like, I've always enjoyed Diablo, but I've always played them after everything gets fixed, because I always know there's going to be issues. Like Diablo 3 was a travesty at launch.
Oh, dude, absolutely, can't agree more. I played the shit out of it at launch as well, but I completely agree.
Yeah, and so I usually wait for things like that. But my best friend is in love with the Diablo franchise, like does all of the post-game content, does all of the season stuff for Diablo 3 and things like that. Only recently dropped off it because he's like, you know what, I've played it enough. So his hype levels were at maximum.
Through the roof.
Yeah, but I was still at the sort of, I remember the Diablo Immortal announcement sort of like state.
The bad taste in your mouth.
Because they said that they could have announced Diablo 4 last year, but didn't. And I'm sure that they didn't have anything to show, but that didn't stop, say, like Bethesda announcing Elder Scrolls 6. Like, you can confirm things are being made. That makes people happy.
Yeah, typical Blizzard style, though. They keep a lot of shit under wraps.
They do.
And they take their time. And I mean, like, credit to them in a lot of ways. Like, as much as we have had the odd broken state release like Diablo 3, and a lot of that did tie into, after their Activision acquisition, we saw shit like the fucking auction shop in Diablo and all that kind of stuff. Credit to the actual creative team, though, for they generally do take their time and they release a pretty good product that lasts years. So it is good to hear that, as much as the game looks really good already, they said like this is a long way off by Blizzard standards, and they're not even going to confirm a date. So it does give me faith that whatever we will get will be pretty meaty in terms of what we get.
Well, there are a few things that I was like after thinking about it, like because the game did look grimmer, it did look better, it did like the aesthetic. It looked a heck of a lot better. Oh my goodness. The druid looked a lot of fun. The new twist on who the big bad is, I like that. I like the structure of it and things like that. One of the things I'm worried about, because I only thought about it recently, was the PvP elements, because it seems like you could enter someone else's world because it's this whole open world experience. And I think that they confirmed that it's an open world PvP thing. What if you're playing the permadeath mode and someone just stronger rocks up? I would be so sad. I'd be so cut.
I mean, surely you're going to get the option to set private worlds and not private worlds, even though it's an always online, experience,
See, that's the thing. So like I always hate the always online, and I know Diablo 4 is going to do it because 3 did it. It's Absolutely. Just, I hope that it's an option for your own world, or
hopefully you
similar
get
thing to how WoW did it, where it's like this is a PvP zone.
Yeah, or I could see something like this is an always online world, but you can have it restricted to just your friends list if you like.
Yeah.
That would be cool. So, I mean, is there much more to say on Diablo? I mean, aesthetically, it looks very pleasing. It's pretty stock standard stuff so far. The story and the lore looks interesting, but who knows when we're getting it.
Like, it's one of those things where, as I was watching it, I was like, yeah, it looks good. It's like, they even have a playable demo and things like that. But because they said it's coming out not even Diablo soon, not even Blizzard soon, which means, at least 2 years.
At least.
I was just like, well, this might be playable and it might be the core concepts that Diablo 4 will work with, but it is by no means an indication of what this product is going to be.
Yeah. A lot can change in 2 years, man. Like, I've seen games do complete flip-arounds in 2 years, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what we end up with. And, I have a feeling that if there are big negatives in this game, we absolutely haven't seen them yet. They could be fully seeded in that game. We won't even know about them yet.
Yeah.
All this was just to show us where the story was going and pretty much what it aesthetically looks like. Which I think is cool. I mean, a lot of people had issue with the aesthetics number 3, and I think it's fair enough. And again, my biggest takeaway from this is that I love Diablo, and I'm glad to see it moving back in that gritty aesthetic direction. So, fingers crossed they nailed this one. And I mean, it can't get much worse than the Diablo 3 release. So hopefully they've learnt their lessons in regards to auction shops and what players actually want from a Diablo experience. So, anything else to say on that, Mark?
It's probably I doubt that we'll see it on PS4 and Xbox One like they announced.
Yeah.
Because say it's 2-3 years out. I imagine that we're getting the PS5 and possibly whatever the next Xbox is next year. 3 years from now, that's going to be the baseline. I don't think we're going to see this on PS4, Xbox One.
Yeah, if this is 3 years away, man, 2 years into a new console generation, you wouldn't think so. But at the same time, the install base is big on PlayStation and Xbox One, and even the Switch. They're big install bases, so it's a lot of money. So who knows? I guess it really depends on what the engine is that it's on, how flexible that is. Because I mean, let's just say, I think best case scenario, it comes out not next Christmas, but the Christmas after, which is 1 year after release. And I mean, 1 year after release into a new console generation, I mean, I could see it hitting the Xbox One, especially with them all talking about how it's still important and it's a family of devices and blah, 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 blah. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, might be one of those cases where they release the port of the higher console version at the same time, and they very, very non-subtly hint that you should be buying the proper one.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, I mean, if we start getting into that 3-year range, maybe not.
Yeah.
I mean, this stuff changes all the time. So, I mean, look at Zelda, man, how that was meant to be a Wii U exclusive, and look what happened with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows, dude? But, yeah, let's move along anyway. So, we're leaving BlizzCon. We're going to wrap it up. We'll probably keep this pretty short because, for one, the Nintendo Direct was a short experience. Well, no, actually, no, it wasn't a short experience. It was a long experience, but it was short on content.
Yeah.
As we all know, it was the Smash character. I don't think either of us really had much to say on that. I don't really play Smash. I know you play a bit of Smash, Mark, but it was just a new character for Smash, and that's all it was. So I don't think we'll bore you with those details, but I think what we'd like to talk about were the wild allegations and rumors floating around regarding what could have been in this Nintendo Direct, and who knows what could potentially crop up in another Nintendo Direct. Who knows? Maybe next year. Next month. I doubt it, but maybe. But I mean, we're more here for fun. I don't actually think any of these wild rumors are true, but weirder things have happened on this Blue Marble. Yeah. So I've only plucked out, Mark, the ones that I think are crazy. There was basically a whole range of leaks for a Nintendo Direct that was meant to be happening this month or next month, but I've just plucked out the wild ones. So I'm going to fire them off at you, Mark. A Doom Guy for Smash. Could totally see happening at some point. Who knows? Weirder things have happened. Switch Pro could totally also be a thing. I seriously doubt that even if it is a thing, there's no fucking way they're going to announce it on the hot heels of the Nintendo Switch Lite. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to announce two systems in the same financial year. Yeah. Not going to happen.
Yeah, it's incredibly plausible, but not now.
No way. Maybe next year. This time next year? Absolutely. I could totally see them freshening up the system right at the point of when Microsoft and Sony are dropping their new systems. Here's a Switch Pro or the Switch XL, whatever you want to call it. Better screen, slightly faster, plays basically the same games, just better in every single way, right? And it's just maybe got a graphics slider, just like the consoles these days, right? Could totally see that happening. Not going to happen this year, though. And Mark, you slow me up whenever you want, man, because I'm gonna fire these off because they're just crazy. I'll leave the one that I think is just the most ridiculous to last. But next we have Minecraft 2 was meant to be getting announced during a Switch, a Nintendo Direct. Now, come on, Mark.
Yeah.
Minecraft 2.
Yeah. See, generally, I don't find the idea of, say, a sequel to Minecraft that strange. The idea that's really strange is, what would a sequel to Minecraft freaking be? Yeah,
well, that's it. What do you do? It's it's worse than Overwatch. How do you do it? What do you improve the graphics? What's wrong with the graphics? They're meant to look that way.
Do you add more?
Is it gonna have a story mode? Yeah. Are we going?
We've got some sort of story thing. We've got some sort of single player progression.
Are they?
We keep adding new features and mechanics and items.
Maybe we're going to outer space, like Mario Galaxy or something. We can planet hop. Maybe we're getting Minecraft's version of No Man's Sky. I don't know, man. And it's also weird that Microsoft's like, hey, Nintendo, we've got a fucking really expensive IP that makes us mad bucks. Do you guys want to announce the sequel? That's totally a thing that would happen. So I think it's safe to assume that even if there were a Minecraft 2, Nintendo probably aren't going to be the ones announcing it. So that one's fun. Cool. I love Minecraft, but I mean, we're meant to be getting a huge update on Minecraft number 1. I'll just call it, I guess, really soon. So who knows, man? This shit's wacky. But moving on, Red Dead Redemption 2. And Cyberpunk 2077 exclusive to the Switch Pro that just got announced, supposedly. Yeah.
As much as I've played Red Dead, I don't want to play it again. As much as I would love to see something like Cyberpunk come to Switch, off the coattails of getting The Witcher to somehow run on it, I don't think that the Switch is geared for it. The Witcher is how old now? 3-4 years?
3 years, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was impressive then. It's still impressive now. But Cyberpunk's the next step up. It's next year's game.
PS4 and Xbox One will absolutely chug trying to play this game. Like, it will not run, like, you're probably looking at probably 20 to 30 frames, right? Yeah. With dynamic resolutions and all that kind of jazz, you know, it's probably have poor frame rate, and some areas look like it's got Vaseline smeared all over it. You know, so...
Yeah. Like, my favourite joke about The Witcher 3, when they announced the specs for it, they said, what do you need for minimum 1 Skynet? What do you need for recommended 2 Skynets? It's like, what do you think Cyberpunk's going to be?
10 Skynets. I hope that's the way we start measuring power, eh? Like,
just
3 Skynets. You'll need 6 Skynets, and 1 Skynet's worth, like, I don't know, like 6,000 floating teraflops or something like that. That would be fucking epic. Make that happen, world. So yeah, I mean, and let's be honest here. When the 3DS XL came out, and yeah, it was more powerful, marginally, there were only a minute amount of exclusive games from that system. So I cannot see Nintendo I could see him announcing a Switch Pro at some point next year, but I can't see them having 2 of the biggest games, we're talking of the last decade, dropping exclusively for a Switch Pro system. Like, I can't see them. I don't see why I just don't see it happening. Like, it doesn't seem their style.
Yeah, it's not a Nintendo move.
No. So that's probably a check off the old list and into the no box. But finally, Mark, to end this episode, the wildest rumor for a Nintendo Direct, and an exclusive, I'll remind you, is GTA 6 exclusive to the Switch.
Yeah. It's, you know, the most plausible thing in the world.
Yeah, the game with strippers and hookers that you kill on the streets is exclusive on a family home console, like Nintendo.
Yeah. It's not only that, like, Rockstar releasing it.
It's a bit early.
Yeah, it's not like they have the worst relationship with Nintendo. It's just that, like, they're not going to do it.
No, and, like, dude, GTA 6, like, the Switch, we will be on the Switch too by that point. Like, GTA 6 is not anywhere in the realm of, like, soon. Like, you think Diablo's far away? GTA 6 is further. Like, I would expect GTA 6 to, like, kind of be landing late next generation and in a transitional period. So they'll probably drop it like this GTA. They'll drop it. We'll get, like, a solid year on the tail end of the next generation, and then they'll revamp it again for the new consoles and PC.
Yeah, the classic Rockstar.
Yeah, the double dip, the classy double dip. Yeah. Like, that game is we got Red Dead 2 like, what, a year ago, maybe. Yeah. There's no way that GTA 6 is anywhere near close. No way. That game is 4 solid years away, easy. So ridiculous, never going to happen. But
it'd be funny.
It would be amazing watching the internet fucking melt. The internet would implode if Nintendo did this and Rockstar did this. Yeah. And the paycheck.
It's so much more plausible that we'd get, like, say, a remaster of, like, GTA 1 and 2 or, like, Chinatown Wars or something like that. Yeah. But no, it has to be 6.
How
and it has to be exclusive.
Yeah, Rockstar would ask for, like, the entire battle chest of Nintendo to make that game an exclusive. Because, like, Rockstar would make so much bank on their GTA series. Like, Nintendo would, like, just bleed out the arse to get that game as an exclusive. Like, that's never going to happen. No one, I mean, I'll eat my words one day, I'm sure. But nobody in the foreseeable future would ever even attempt to buy the GTA series, like, as an exclusive. Like, not even as a timed exclusive, man. I can't even see that happening. So, yeah, crazy shit. I mean, I think the only one that I think we could probably both agree upon as being plausible out of that wild, supposed leak from 4chan, from an insider at Nintendo, the only plausible one I think could be the Switch Pro.
Yeah. I can see Doom Guy in Smash. Like, it might be... Yeah, like it might not be super likely, but, like, look, we've got Bayonetta.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Smash Bros. Is one of those games I think they're going to try and keep alive, kind of almost as, like some kind of... I don't know if we'll get another one. I think this could be the Smash. This will be the Smash that I'm sure they future-proofed themselves for. Like, they wanted to get every single one of these characters on board, and I think they're going to try and keep it alive with DLC, like, well into the future. So I could totally see them getting a little bit funky with some of the DLC characters, like a Doom guy or something like that. I could totally see that happening.
And like I mentioned before with like Overwatch and fighting games, like we can't go anywhere from here with Smash because they said we probably can't get the license again for everyone. Yeah. So like absolutely. This is it. Just keep adding.
This is it. Yeah, I completely agree. I think this will be like a 10-year game. Like, why do it again? You've done it perfectly now. Why do it again? Like, there's no point. Nothing they do will come close to this one. Like, anytime soon. Maybe in 10 years, if they want to have another crack, sure. But there's no point doing one next generation. Or Switch 2. There's no point. Just port it forward. Interesting rumours, interesting leaks. I'm sure some of it will probably come to fruition eventually. But yeah, let us know what you think down below regarding these leaks. And what do you want from Nintendo next year? Just let us know. But Mark, let's wrap it up. I think we're on the money in terms of runtime. So thanks for joining us on this live podcast. Let us know what you think of this format and give us some recommendations because we want to really play around with it. And we hope to improve it kind of week over week. We are still working on kind of getting it regular, but our time slot is Wednesdays for US and UK and Thursdays for Down Under. So remember to join us Wednesdays or Thursdays weekly. We hope you enjoy it and let us know what you thought down below in the comments. And if you did enjoy it, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Next week, though, hopefully, Mark, will you be joining us or are you tapping out next week?
No, I'm tapping out next week.
Tapping out, so I'll be back with Count next week, which we've already organised. So be sure to join us next Wednesday/Thursday for another episode of All That Remains. But until next time, guys, have a good one.